Hello, everyone. This is Animezingly Baka, the amazingly stupid podcast all about anime and movies and TV shows and manga and comics and books and music and so much more. Except this episode is going to be a shorty because I'm recording it a little bit earlier than usual and I don't feel that strongly about anything. Talking about anything other than Fire Force Season 3, which I am one episode away from being completely caught up on. I haven't watched the most recent episode, but I have watched the first, 8 episodes of Season 3, I believe. Yes, 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 yes. And so far, it's all right. It is definitely a downgrade in terms of overall art and animation quality. It is not bad. I wouldn't go that far. I don't know if I would say it's on the level of One Punch Man season 1 to season 2. I don't think it's quite that significant of a drop, but it is a noticeable drop. And the greatest example of that, I feel like, to showcase the difference would be in the Shinra Burns fight. That's in what? Episode 5 or 6. And what I noticed, my takeaway from that episode, and I would love to hear what others think about that specific fight, and if they agree with this kind of assessment, is that while looking at it and watching it, there were plenty of parts where technically the animation didn't look bad, but it felt off. And I kept trying to think of what was going on. Why did it look off? And I don't think this is the actual case. Maybe it is. I don't know. I've never looked into how these shows are put together, but what that fight specifically felt like was that Burns and Shinra were both being animated independently and then layered on top of each other. And it made it so that the impact of their attacks and all that felt incredibly off in the sense that they didn't feel like they were actually fighting each other, but fighting on top of each other. There was an instance where Shinra was, I think, jumping on Burns' stomach when he was down on the ground, and it felt less like he was actually jumping up and down on his stomach, constantly impacting his abdomen, and instead, Burns was a foot behind him, and he was just jumping in front of him on the ground and trying to make it look like he was actually attacking him. It felt very much so like what you would do in, especially back in the day, how you would use camera manipulation, perspective, and the angles and all of that to make it appear as if someone is punching another character, or make it so that some actor looks significantly taller than another one and so forth. You play with these, you play with perspective and whatnot to give the effect that something is happening that isn't. And that is what it felt like with their fight in many of the shots. Of course, you don't need to play with perspective or do stuff like that because these are animated characters. You can let them beat the shit out of each other. It doesn't matter because they're not real. And I think that is kind of true of the season as a whole. There are also things that feel off just in terms of the actual characters and their look. Benimaru, when he shows up, and I loved it when he showed up. I was very hyped for that moment. But then when he fights, he looks, and maybe I'm wrong in this case, he looks scrawnier than I remember from the first 2 seasons. There are parts of his fight where when he was moving around, he almost felt like he was emaciated or something. I was, what the? Have you been on a diet or something, Benny? Benny, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Benny? Benny, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Benny? You've been hit by. You've been struck by some animation. But the story at the very least, where it's gone with the evangelist and now the, is it the Soul Temple? But the nunnery where, is it Habana and Iris grew up learning more about these doppelgangers and all that, trying to, they turn the eighth into criminals essentially, when the first and the white clad team up together. They capture Obi and plan to convert him into an infernal with one of the bugs, but his buff body is too strong for them to get in. There are a lot of story moments and character moments I'm really enjoying in this season. And it's just a shame that the art is letting it down to a degree. Again, this isn't Blue Lock. This isn't later seasons of Food Wars that are more slideshow. It's not that. It is just, you have an expectation when a show looks as good as Fire Force did in seasons 1 and seasons 2. If you can't continue that level of quality, and especially when you waited as long as so many people have waited. I watched the first 2 seasons that they came out, but didn't really, it wasn't something that stuck with me, so I rewatched it now, and that made it so that the wait was kind of not a big thing for me. But for those who really love the show, who love the series and have been waiting so long to get this kind of mid-ish version of it, it has to be disappointing. But in terms of the story and the characters and all that, I'm still really enjoying it. And I have it at a 7 out of 10. I should probably maybe drop it to a 6 out of 10 for overall in comparison, which is not a good trend for the show, because I gave the first season an 8 and the second season a 7. And if we continue down this downward trajectory, it's gonna just continue to get worse and worse. But hopefully that's not how it plays out. I think Arthur, one of the issues I still have with the show is that Shinra is our protagonist. He's the main character, the main specific main character. And I feel like he is just the weakest of the bunch. In his fight with Burns, I didn't get the sense that I guess with his blue light power now, but I think about him and his one OP ability that I can't remember the downside of it. If it's just that he overheats real fast or there's a danger every time he uses it, but his ability to flash out of existence, move so fast, do whatever he's doing that all the particles of him break up and he ends up in this other space, and then he could reform and basically does this kind of time traveling, whatever thing he's doing. Why doesn't he use that all the time? I can't remember the reasoning behind any of that. But he has that OP ability and I feel like he should use it more. But even in Burns' fight, even though he ends up winning, I don't feel the sense that Shinra is actually getting stronger and is the top of the bunch. When someone like Benny Maru shows up, he feels so unbelievably stronger than everyone else said. You could argue that he's too OP, and I would definitely hear that argument. But over the course of 3 seasons, I don't feel like we've seen that much growth from Shinra, really. And I'm sure I'm just it, I I like Shinra as a character, but the more and more I watch Fire Force, the less I like him as or I'm invested in his his arc. I look at someone like Arthur, and he had a really great moment in this season where he takes down the one dude right away, and then he's battling against this dragon, white clad, and of course he ends up getting defeated, but you feel a sense of growth. And the last episode I just watched is about them going after this this material to make him a new hilt for a sword or whatever, and it ends with him being so stupid that he doesn't realize the clue they give him, and now wants to go into the Nether to get this material for his sword. And I'm assuming that's what the next episode is going to follow. But I feel like we're seeing him grow in terms of strength, and I mean we're never going to see Arthur grow in terms of his intelligence because that's who he is. You also, I mean, we have the whole fan service shit with what is her name now? I can't remember. The names all blend together with me. But there is the fan service with I need to get her name. What is it? Kizuki or something? Taumaki. So they continue that, of course, but at least in this season they had some fun with it. And no, I mean they had fun with her powers because they end up using her intense heat to make the iron to a certain temperature so that it can't be it loses its magnetism when they're fighting against the gold character who I did not like that character. Ka-ching! It's like fuck it. Please deal with it. One, I was not expecting is it Hinawa? Hinawa to just straight up shoot her in the head, kill her. I can't remember if they've ever killed a white clad before or just kind of knocked them out, subdued them. But she just straight up gets shot in the head. Spoilers. But they have this whole thing where she's all fan serviced out, stripped of her clothing, and they're cooking on her ass. And it's some ridiculous art there. And it looks like she is just farting flames out of her ass in her underwear. It's ridiculous. But at least with that, I felt like, oh, her fan servicing nature is being used comedically in a more interesting way than just, hey, look, fan service. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a bit of an underwhelming season. So I don't know what else to say about it really. I again think there's been some decent story stuff going on. We saw some kind of flash of power, something from Iris that I'm sure people who have read the manga are well aware of, where she, through her blessing, her prayer, her something, is able to protect the entire eighth when Dragon lets off his giant attack. So I'm curious about that. We do have the stuff with Habana going back to the convent number, whatever it was, and discovering her old nun sister, head sister there, who's still there and is the seventh pillar and has this kind of vibration ability. Where exactly that's gonna go, I don't know. It's okay. Season 3 has been okay. Outside of that, of course, watching my usual seasonals. Windbreaker is in wrap up fashion, and like I was kind of expecting, the dude from the beginning fight after the end of that, who was kind of the manipulator of it, shows up at the end of this most recent episode, and we're gonna probably get the seeds for what is going to be season 3's main arc with that dude who's all tattooed up and gives me bouncer on PS2 vibes. My elbow falls off the screen. But I'm continuing to really like season 2 of Windbreaker because I I I like I like I like Tsubaki. Tsubaki's really good. And it's been his season. Other than that, what else? Witch Watch I haven't watched yet because it has not come out by the time I'm recording this. The Apothecary Diaries is getting juicy. This last episode was a very emotional episode. Usually this show is fairly lighthearted, even when some serious stuff happens, it's overall fairly lighthearted. But with the coming of the fight, the battle of Jinshi and the army and all them making their way towards where Mama is, everyone is starting to freak out and flee. The one daughter destroys all the gunpowder and all that jazz. But what is really intense, and I was not expecting anything like this to happen on the show. Something so brutal and hard to just fathom, and I, I I still kind of struggle with this character doing what they did because it is such a dark thing, and I understand her reasoning, but I also am on the side of Mao Mao and just thinking like, how could you do this? Was that daughter poisoning all of the kids in the village? Because she knew that when Jinshi and his troops and all of them come through, no one is going to be safe. And this is going to be a much nicer way for these kids to go. Gives them some poison in juice and then sits with them and reads them a story uh, as they fall asleep, and then it's a forever sleep. And then the one little boy who's been kind of fun little nuisance, but if you're me, and I would assume many people, you've kind of found him a little bit endearing. You liked him. You want to see him make it out of this whole situation, out of this village. You know, he has his mother who is not in the best place, and earlier in that episode, you see him almost tear up over the whole thing to get the flashback, I guess you'd call it, where she assumes he probably understands or knows he arrives late to that whole thing, and he probably knows that the drink she's giving him is poison, and he just takes it in one gulp anyway. He accepts it. That's that's a lot. That's some heavy shit. I wasn't expecting that. That's sad. And now all I want, one, that character who did that, again, I understand her reasoning. Man, do I not agree with it. But two, the mother who was slapping people around in the beginning of the episode and has just been awful ever since she showed up a few episodes ago. I really hope she gets it. I hope it's a significant get too. I hope it's not just, oh, she dies off screen or some kind of cheap death. I want to see her get it. Just fuck that character. But I continue to really like Apothecary Diaries. I think it is easily one of the standout shows. And Mao Mao is one of my favorite characters of recent memory. I think she's such a great character. I think it was fun when she was thrown into this dungeon and the torture they do to you most people is to open up a box full of creepy crawlies and poisonous insects and animals. And she looks at it and is like, "Oh my god, it's a buffet. I can eat this, I can eat that. I'm gonna use my little hairpins to carve up the snake and have a delicious meal." Classic Mau Mau. That's why we love Mau Mau. And then that's it. My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Fun recent episode where you see him, the crawler? No, I feel like I'm calling him by the name he doesn't like. The crawler, where he teams up with the ignition dude again, and the his what do you call him, senpai? His senior, the lady who is researching kind of journalistically the heroes and whatnot. She finally sees his face revealed as the crawler, and that was a nice kind of Spider-Man 2 moment where she sees him being all heroic and gets confirmation that he is indeed that character, even though it would be so easy to confirm it when she was talking with his mother because he's using her to fake be his girlfriend to try and make his mother just feel okay about everything. It would be very easy for the mother to just mention what his powers are in conversation, and then she can put two and two together and oh, you can do this? You mean your power is the same power as the crawler? Oh, you must be the crawler. So, yeah. I don't know. I like the show. And the thing is too with that whole situation is that what is her name? But obviously they put in the seeds for some kind of relationship between Koichi and Kazuo because of the history behind them with the hoodie and all that. When she was younger, he saved her. But Makoto, his senior, I like her so far. I don't know if there's gonna be some kind of twist where she's actually nefarious and bad. I hope not. But just from a romantic storyline potentiality direction, I like both options. It's currently a situation where I would be fine with them exploring either or. And part of that is probably because, especially in these last few episodes, I don't feel like Kazuo's gotten a lot of play, and we've gotten more of Makoto, but still enjoying it. This has been a season of mostly, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine seasons, fine shows. A lot of 7 out of 10s with the main, the two standouts. I should maybe bump up Windbreaker to an 8 because I've enjoyed it as much as I have. The two standouts for me are definitely Windbreaker and the Apothecary Diaries. But those are also, I mean, Fire Force is a continuation. But then you have Witch Watch, a new show, and Vigilantes is also a new show. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, like I said, it's gonna be a shorter episode. Been powering through my big playlist as well, watching a whole bunch of stuff. Nothing too exciting to talk about on that front. In terms of new Blu-ray or any stuff announcements, the most exciting thing is is it The Adventures of Lois and Clark? I always forget the actual title of it. But you have Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, the old TV show with Dean Kane, is that his name? And Terry Hatcher. That is getting a Blu-ray release, and I just love anytime old TV shows end up on Blu-ray. I remember liking this when it came out. Whether it holds up, I don't know, but I'm excited to find out, and this gives me an incentive, a reason to do just that. So I'm happy about that, and that's the main thing I wanted to mention. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this here episode of Animezingly Baka. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to a monthly Q&A, a private Discord channel, along with some fancy Discord roles, and the random drop on the Patreon here or there, depending on your tier. Or you could just support me to support me. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye bye.
It's go time. Go daddy. It's go time. Go daddy.